Here are tonight's team of 8 contestants about to play for £20,000. Only one of them will walk away with the prize money. 7 of them will leave empty-handed after their teammates vote them the weakest link.
Welcome to the weakest link. Any of the 8 people in the studio here tonight could win up to £20,000. They don't know each other, however. If they want the prize money, they'll have to work as a team. But 7 of them will leave with nothing, as round by round we lose the player voted the weakest link. Let's meet the team.
I'm Joyce, I'm 40, a university administrator from County Antrim.
I'm Andy, I'm 23, work in IT recruitment and I'm from Hertfordshire.
I'm Doreen, I'm 63, enjoying retirement in Isleham, Cambridgeshire.
I'm Bob, I'm 49, I'm a freelance sales agent from Dunfermline.
I'm Dawn, I'm 30 years old and I'm a secretary from Birmingham.
I'm Richard, I'm 35, an architect from North London.
I'm Lisa and I'm 20 and I'm a student from County Durham.
I'm Blaine, I'm 41, I'm a chartered engineer from Epping in Essex.
Now the rules. In each round, the aim is to answer enough questions correctly to reach your £2,500 target within the time limit. The fastest way is to create a chain of 8 correct answers. Get your question wrong and you break the chain and lose all the money in that chain. But if you say bank before the question is asked, the money is safe. However, you start a new chain from scratch. Remember, at the end of the round, only money that has been banked can be taken forward. In round 1, there are 2.5 minutes on the clock. We'll start with the person whose name is first alphabetically. That's you, Andy. Let's play the weakest link. The first question is for £50. Start the clock. Andy, according to the first line of Shakespeare's Twelfth Night, music can be the food of what?
Love.
Correct. Doreen, in which sport are the Ashes a trophy?
Cricket.
Correct. Bob, in the TV series Only Fools and Horses, to which character did Del Boy usually say you plonker?
Rodney.
Correct. Dawn,
Bank.
the traditional wish of good luck among performers in the theatre is break a what?
A leg.
Correct. Richard, in the nursery rhyme, to which English city did Dr. Foster go?
Gloucester.
Correct. Lisa, in which game of chance using numbers between 1 and 90 might a player shout house to claim a prize?
Bingo.
Correct. Blaine, which annual World Beauty Contest was held at the Millennium Dome in November 2000?
Miss World.
Correct. Joyce, Reef and Granny are types of what K?
Not.
Correct. Andy, which famous duo won an Olympic gold for figure skating in 1984 performing their routine to Ravel's Bolero?
Solvin and Dean.
Correct. Doreen, in animal biology, how is the Felis catus more commonly known?
Cat.
Correct. Bob,
Bank.
according to the proverb, fools rush in where who fear to tread?
Angels.
Correct. Dawn, which
Bank.
lizard can change colour to hide itself from predators?
Pass.
Chameleon. Richard, the 3-foot-tall American entertainer Charles Sherwood Stratton was more commonly known as Tom what?
Thumb.
Correct. Lisa, in music, what V is the alto member of the violin family that is longer than a violin and with a deeper tone?
Viola.
Correct. Blaine, in TV, Lisa Kudrow plays the character Phoebe in which American comedy series?
Ally McBeal.
Friends. Joyce, which chemical element with the symbol Cl is used as a disinfectant in swimming pools?
Chlorine.
Correct. Andy, which popular pastime from Japan takes its name from the Japanese word for empty in orchestra and involves singing along to backing tracks?
Karaoke.
Correct. Doreen, if you buy 4 apples, 12 oranges and 3 pears, how many pieces of fruit do you have?
9.
19. Bob, in the animal kingdom, does the hamster carry its food back to the nest in a cheek pouch or a stomach pouch?
In a cheek pouch.
Correct. Dawn, in pop music, which letter of the alphabet completes the name of this disco band? Boney?
M.
Correct. Richard, in ancient history, Attila the what attacked the eastern frontier of the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD?
Attila the Hun.
Correct. Lisa, in which sport has Joe Johnson and Dennis Taylor been world champions?
Snooker.
Correct.
Bank.
Blaine. OK, you reached and banked your target. within the time limit, and that money will go through to the next round. But of course, one of you will not. Who in that first round started to worry you? Whose brain is perhaps a lot smaller than their ambition? Do not tolerate anyone who already looks as if they could be tiresome. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
At the end of a lucrative first round, Bob is the strongest player. The weakest link is Blaine, who only answered one question correctly. But at this early stage of the game, will the team have picked up on this?
Okay, voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Dawn.
Doreen.
Dawn.
Doreen.
Doreen.
Blaine.
Dawn.
Dawn.
Doreen, you're a qualified teacher.
I am.
One who can't add up.
I didn't hear the end of the question, Anne.
Oh, it's my fault.
Yes.
Why Dawn?
I remember that there were 3 people who had one question wrong, and hers was the shortest name to write.
Right, so you didn't actually know whether she was the weakest link or not?
I didn't.
No. And of course she wasn't the weakest link. Was she, Blaine?
No, she wasn't the weakest link.
Who was the weakest link?
I suspect because you're asking me, it might have been me.
Right. Why Dawn?
Because she banked before she answered her question, which meant that she obviously doesn't have confidence in herself, and she also got one wrong.
Right. You have to bank before you answer your question.
That's quite true, but if you bank early, it means that you're not confident in yourself.
Dawn, you backed £250. You were not the worst player. Blaine was. But with 4 votes, the team have decided you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
Well, I'm very annoyed being voted off. I shouldn't be here at all. Blaine should be the person that should be standing here. And I'm very disgusted that he actually voted for me, the cheek of it. Hopefully, I hope he gets voted off in the next round, because that's all he deserves.
Round 2. Now, you reached your target of £2,500 in the first round, and there are 7 of you left. You've lost Dawn, but you've still got Doreen, who will apparently answer the questions correctly, provided she hears them. We are now taking 10 seconds off the clock. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Bob. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Bob, in food, what type of vegetable is a Maris Piper?
Potato.
Correct. Richard, in the 1960s and 70s TV comedy series On the Buses, was Reg Varney's character Stan a bus driver or bus conductor?
A bus driver.
Correct. Lisa, which Welsh poet and playwright's dying words were reputed to be, "I've had 18 straight whiskies, I think that's the record"?
Samuel Beckett.
Dylan Thomas. Blaine, complete the title of this Matt Damon and Ben Affleck film. Good Will what?
Hunting.
Correct. Joyce, in the animal kingdom, a ruminant is a mammal that chews the what?
Cud.
Correct, Andy. What is the full name of the medical organisation known as the BMA?
British Medical Association.
Correct, Doreen. In the UK, what is the name of the road safety code that teaches children to stop, look, listen and think?
Green Cross Code.
Correct, Bob. Multiply the number of days in the week by the number of months in the year.
84.
Correct, Richard.
Bang.
Which TV comedian played Kevin the Teenager in the film Kevin and Perry Go Large?
Harry Enfield.
Correct, Lisa. In the animal kingdom, a pointer is a breed of which animal?
Fish.
Dog. Blaine, in travel, the MA links Glasgow with which other major Scottish city?
Edinburgh.
Correct. Joyce, which British pop star admitted in November 2000 to going on a £2 million a month spending spree following a record deal in 1996?
Elton John.
Correct, Andy. In which city is the Kremlin?
Russia.
Moscow. Doreen, in the Bible, Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of what?
Salt.
Correct, Bob. In the 1980s TV series, which Sue Townsend character confessed his love for Pandora in his secret diary?
Adrian Mole.
Correct, Richard. What was the common name for the community charge brought in by Margaret Thatcher in 1989 to 1990?
Poll tax.
Correct, Lisa. In biology, which word is used to describe animals with backbones?
Pass.
Vertebrates. Blaine, what P is the name given to a vertical cave system or a circular hole in the bedrock of a river?
Pass.
pothole. Joyce, the YHA is an organisation that provides accommodation for travellers. For what do the letters YHA stand?
Youth Hostling Association.
Youth Hostel Association, but I'll accept. Andy.
Bank.
In classical music, is an aria a solo voice piece? Time is up. I cannot complete the question. And in that round, team, you did not do nearly as well. You banked just £1,050, so you were well below the target of 2,500. Who now is clearly out of their depth? It's time to be lean and mean. Rid yourself of the rubbish. You need brains on your side, not bonhomie. Have no mercy. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Richard is the strongest link statistically. Lisa answered all of her questions incorrectly, which makes her the weakest link. But will the voting follow the facts?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Lisa.
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 Blaine.
Lisa.
Blaine.
Lisa.
Andy, are you having the same trouble as Doreen? You can't hear the questions.
Yeah, it does sound very similar between capital and country. Just a momentary lapse.
You didn't listen properly.
That's the one.
You spoke too soon.
Perhaps, yeah.
Just agree with me, Andy. It's easier.
Sure it is.
Why Lisa?
She got 3 consecutive questions wrong. I hate to vote off anyone, but someone's got to go.
Richard,
Yes.
have you got any questions wrong yet?
No.
But then you're an architect, aren't you?
Yes.
And architects are never wrong, are they? It's always someone else's fault, isn't it, Richard?
Maybe.
Why Lisa?
Because she got 3 questions wrong.
Where were you in the last round, Lisa?
Not here.
No. Would you like to share with us this fish called a pointer?
Dunno, you never know, do you?
Well, you do, actually. With 5 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I voted for Blaine in that round because he got a question wrong and he hesitated a bit, and I didn't really know who else to vote for because I knew it was going to be me anyway, and he's hard and he's wearing pink, so he can take it.
Round 3, you have in the bank £3,550 out of a possible 5,000. You're down to 6 players. We are taking another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Richard. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Richard, Eric Weiss was the real name of which famous escapologist?
Harry Houdini.
Correct. Blaine, in which American TV series did David Hasselhoff play the lifeguard Mitch Buchanan?
Baywatch.
Correct. Joyce, in the animal kingdom, what F are long-legged birds famed for their pink-tinged plumage that live entirely by filter feeding?
Flamingos.
Correct. Andy, in literature, does the Cheshire Cat or the Cornish Cat appear in Alice's Adventures in Wonderland?
Cheshire Cat.
Correct.
Blank.
Doreen, in fashion, which V is a man-made cellulose fibre derived from wood pulp?
Pass.
Viscose. Bob, what is the name of the wax secreted by worker bees in a hive that is used to construct their combs?
Honey.
Beeswax. Richard, in handicrafts, what would you be doing if you were forming a moss stitch or a rib stitch?
Crochet.
Knitting. Blaine, in modern literature, what was the name of Alan Bennett's series of 6 monologues published in 1988?
Talking Heads.
Correct. Joyce, which British singer who was born Elaine Bookbinder had hits including Pearl's a Singer and Sunshine After the Rain?
Elkie Brooks.
Correct. Andy, which insect is said to have got its name because of a widespread ancient belief that they crawled into the ears of sleeping people?
Locust.
Earwig. Doreen, from which country in the UK did the outlaw Rob Roy come?
Scotland.
Correct. Bob, which English waif supermodel from Croydon was discovered at the age of 14 at JFK Airport?
Twiggy.
Kate Moss. Richard, in mythology, who was the Greek god of love?
Venus.
Eros. Blaine, name the giant radioactive dinosaur that first appeared in a Japanese film in 1954 and has been the subject of many subsequent films and cartoon TV series.
Godzilla.
Correct. Joyce, in geography, is the Docklands development in East or West London?
East London.
Correct. Andy, in nature, what tea is the cold region in which mostly lichens, mosses and small shrubs survive?
Pass.
Tundra. Doreen, what A is a medical name for baldness?
Alopecia.
Correct, Bob. In the Bible, is the book of Amos in the Old or New Testament?
In the old.
Correct, Richard. The song No Woman, No Cry was the first UK top 40 hit for which famous singer?
Bob Marley.
Correct, Blaine.
Bank.
On TV, what is the name of BBC? Time is up. And my. In that round, down again, you banked a pitiful £700. You're meant to be getting better, not worse. Who's gone from bright to very, very, very dim? Do not give them the benefit of the doubt. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
After surviving the first round as the weakest link, Blaine is now the strongest player. The weakest link is Andy, but who will lose out when it comes to the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Andy.
Doreen.
Bob.
Andy.
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 Bob, where do you come from?
Dunfermline.
Why did you vote for Andy?
Because I guess I might well have been the weakest link there, but I certainly wasn't going to vote for myself.
Right. Richard, architects, they don't knit, do they?
I've never knitted in my life, no.
Haven't you?
No. I've never
Okay.
crocheted either.
Why Andy?
Because he got a couple wrong and it's stuck in my mind.
Andy, do you travel much?
Occasionally.
Might be helpful to learn the difference between an earwig and a locust, don't you think?
The word biblical was stuck in my mind, so...
Right. Another bit of confusion, was it?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of sad because with 4 votes, you are the weakest link. Bye.
I think the person who probably win tonight would be Bob. He's had a couple of really good rounds, although not the last one, but he's been the strongest link on occasion. I think Blaine will probably come off next, simply because he's got away with it by the skin of his teeth.
Round 4, you've banked £4,250 out of potential prize money of £7,500. There are 5 of you left. We are taking another 10 seconds off your time. You now have only 2 minutes. We'll start with the strongest link from the last round. That's Blaine. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Blaine, in nutrition, what R is another word for dietary fibre?
Roughage.
Correct. Joyce, in geography, Hewtown is the capital of which group of islands in the United Kingdom?
Pass.
Scilly Isles. Doreen, in science, which K is the noble gas that is used inside fluorescent tubes?
K. Did you say?
In science, what K is the noble gas that is used inside fluorescent tubes?
Krypton.
Correct. Bob, in literature, was Alfred Tennyson an English or an American poet?
English.
Correct. Richard, what S is a Scandinavian country famous for the salmon dish gravlax?
Sweden.
Correct. Blaine, name the 1990s TV satire show starring David Baddiel and Rob Newman that took its name from a TV moral crusader.
The Mary Whitehouse Experience.
Correct. Joyce, in nature, hawthorn blossom is traditionally named after which month of the year?
May.
Correct. Doreen,
Bank.
who directed the 1954 film Dial M for Murder?
Alfred Hitchcock.
Correct. Bob, who was Frank Bruno's American opponent in the first televised pay-per-view fight shown in Britain in 1996?
Mike Tyson.
Correct. Richard, in fishing, is the brown trout a game fish or a coarse fish?
A coarse fish.
Game fish. Blaine, in food, Palestine soup is made from a vegetable known as the Jerusalem what?
Pass.
Artichoke. Joyce, Fritz Kreisler was a 20th century virtuoso on which string instrument?
Violin.
Correct. Doreen, in politics, in what year did the Maastricht Treaty come into effect? 1993 or 1995?
95.
1993. Bob, in nature, cocksfoot and Yorkshire fog are both types of what plant?
Pass.
Grasses. Richard, in history, the English king who founded Westminster Abbey was known as Edward the what?
Confessor.
Correct. Blaine,
Bank.
in Greek literature, what ale is the birthplace of the female Greek lyric poet Sappho?
The Labyrinth.
Lesbos. Time is up, team, and after all that work, You banked only £1,050. I urge you, dispatch the dead wood, ditch the duffer, give the heave-ho to the most hopeless. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
The statistics show Doreen is the strongest link. In another reversal of fortune, Blaine is now the weakest link. But can he survive the vote for a second time?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Doreen.
Blaine.
Doreen.
Bob.
Doreen.
Joyce, you like travelling, do you?
Yes.
You've never been to the Scilly Isles?
No, never.
Why Doreen?
It's getting more difficult to choose, but I think at this stage Doreen is the weakest link.
Was she annoying you?
No.
She wasn't the weakest link. Was she, Blaine?
Apparently not.
You're the weakest link in this round, and overall, you're the weakest link. And for some reason, the team haven't noticed. Doreen, why have they voted you off when you were the strongest link, do you think?
Well, I don't know. Face doesn't fit, I expect.
Right. Well, that might well be the case. With 3 votes, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
When you come on this programme, you know it's not a fair game, and so you take that on the chin. And I got something right. I voted for Blaine, and he obviously is the weakest link, so I'm right. I think Joyce might well win it because consistently she has been good. She's never been the weakest link. She may never been the strongest link, but she's consistent.
Round 5, your total so far is £5,300. If you'd hit your targets, it would be £10,000. There are 4 of you left. You have lost Doreen and Dawn and Lisa and Andy, but the good news is you've still got Blaine. Another 10 seconds coming off the time. You voted off the strongest link, so we start with the second strongest link from the last round. That's Joyce. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Joyce, in pop music, which of the following is not one of Michael Jackson's sisters? Rebe, Janet, or Deborah?
Deborah.
Correct. Bob, in medicine, what C is an acute bacterial infection of the small intestine, which is mainly contracted from contaminated water?
Cholera.
Correct. Richard, did Edward VIII abdicate before or after the Second World War?
Before.
Correct. Blaine, Toronto is the capital city of which Canadian province?
Pass.
Ontario. Joyce, in the children's book The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which character was the first to reach Narnia, Peter, Susan or Lucy?
Lucy.
Correct. Bob, in geography, what is the full name of the country known as the UAE?
United Arab Emirates.
Correct. Richard, name the musical written by Pete Townsend and The Who about a deaf, dumb and blind boy.
Pinball Wizard.
Tommy. Blaine, in which US state is the city of Houston?
Texas.
Correct. Joyce, what E is the Baltic country whose capital is Tallinn?
Estonia.
Correct. Bob, according to
Bank.
St. John's Gospel, what was in the beginning with God?
Man.
The word. Richard, in medicine, what U is a scanning technique used in obstetrics to examine a fetus?
Pass.
Ultrasound. Blaine, in biology, what gas is the main waste product of respiration in air-breathing animals?
Carbon dioxide.
Correct. Joyce, in nature, red, Norway and sugar are all varieties of which tree whose leaf features on the Canadian flag?
Maple.
Correct. Bob, in the UK motoring, the DVLA stands for the driving and vehicle what?
Licensing Authority.
Licensing agency. Richard, during World War II, the American Boeing B-17 was known as the Flying what?
Pass.
Fortress. Blaine, what would you... Time is up. And having got rid of 4 so-called weakest links, in that round, you banked just £100. You really are the team with a golden future behind you. Who now is too dazed and confused to stay? You need to be ruthless to be rich. It's time to vote off the weakest link.
Joyce is the strongest link, as she was the only player to answer all of her questions correctly. The weakest link is Richard, who got 3 questions wrong. But how will the team make their decision?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Blaine.
Richard.
Blaine.
Richard.
We have a tie team. Blaine and Richard, 2 votes each. Blaine, why Richard?
Because he got, I think he got all of his questions wrong.
No, he didn't. Richard, why Blaine?
Because I'm fairly sure I was the weakest player, but I think on sort of previous performance, he has to go.
Well, when the vote is tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. Joyce, you voted for Blaine. However, statistically, of course, Richard is the weakest link. And the wonderful thing about being the deciding vote is that you could change your mind.
I'd stick with Blaine.
Why?
Because I feel overall he's weaker than Richard.
Right. Nothing fair here. Blaine, you weren't the weakest link in that particular round, but my goodness, you've excelled yourself in other rounds.
Thank you very much.
Joyce wants to get rid of you. You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I think Richard should be standing here instead of me. He got most of his questions wrong. I got certainly more questions right than he did. I think I also tried to bank, but because I was next to him, it meant that every time he got a question wrong, I had to start from the beginning again. I think we worked well as a team, but I think that Joyce was out for herself right from the start and wasn't quite the team player that the rest of us thought she was.
Round 6, you've won so far £5,400 out of a possible £12,500. 3 of you left, another 10 seconds off the clock. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Joyce. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Joyce, which actress plays the orange-haired character Linda La Hughes in the TV sitcom Gimme, Gimme, Gimme?
Pass.
Kathy Burke. Bob, in which series of comedy films did the actor Herbert Lom play Chief Inspector Dreyfus opposite Peter Sellers' bumbling detective?
Pink Panther.
Correct. Richard, in the animal kingdom, what ale is a short-tailed member of the cat family that inhabits the forests of Eurasia and North America?
Leopard.
Lynx. Joyce, in theatre, in which century did Richard Sheridan write the play The Rivals?
18th.
Correct. Bob, in world geography, name either of the 2 countries that the river Ganges runs through.
India.
Correct. Richard, in Iranian mythology, was Tish Trier the god of rain or snow?
Rain.
Correct. Joyce, what B is a Christian religious order founded by St Benedict which places the emphasis on prayer, work and the reading of holy books?
Benedictine.
Correct. Bob,
Bank.
who designed an allegedly unpickable lock in 1818 to prevent burglaries at a naval dock? Jeremiah Chubb or Linus Yale?
Chubb.
Correct. Richard, what title did Hitler take as leader of Germany in imitation of Mussolini's title Il Duce?
Führer.
Correct. Joyce, in sport, the Heisman's Trophy is presented to the best college player in what American sport?
Basketball.
American football. Bob, in science, an exothermic reaction is a reaction that gives off what?
Heat.
Correct. Richard,
Bang.
which national newspaper was founded in London in 1785 as the Daily Universal Register?
The Times.
Correct.
Bank.
Joyce, in car engines, what device ignites the petrol-air mixture in the cylinder? Time is up. The correct answer is spark plugs. And in that round, you banked just £600. Now, in round 7, you get the chance to double what you bank, and that means in the next round, there's £5,000 to be won. The question is, who have you had enough of? Who is past their best? Who is least likely to raise your total winnings? It's time to vote off the weakest link.
For the second time, Bob is the strongest player, as he answered all of his questions correctly and banked the most money. Joyce has gone from strongest link to weakest link. But at this crucial stage of the game, who will lose out in the vote?
Voting over, it's time to reveal who you think is the weakest link.
Bob.
Richard.
Joyce.
We have a three-way tie. Bob, Joyce and Richard. 1 vote each. Richard, why Joyce?
She's been very, very good all the way through the programme, but this last round, she wasn't. I feel very guilty because she saved me in the last round as well, but I think
And
in
maybe
that round...
you should feel guilty because overall, of the three, you are the weakest player. Joyce, why Bob?
It's very, very difficult to choose between Richard and Bob at this stage, but I felt that Bob was maybe slightly weaker.
Of course, in that round, he was actually the strongest link. And of course, when the vote is tied, the strongest link has to cast the deciding vote. Now, Bob, in the last round, the weakest link was Joyce. However, overall, the weakest link has been Richard. And you can decide which one you'd like to get rid of. You've voted for Richard, but of course you can change your mind.
Dilemma. I'll stick with Richard.
Because
He was the weakest of the three.
Richard, the architect, you are the weakest link. Goodbye.
I could kick myself for getting so far and not getting to the last two. I should have voted for Bob, and then he would have been out and I would still be there. As it was, I voted for Joyce because she was the weakest link in that round, and I just thought that was the fair way to go, but Bob decided I had to go, so fair enough. The person who I think is going to win this evening is Joyce. Just on past sort of record, she has been consistently good. Bob does fluff a few questions.
Round 7 in the bank is £6,000 out of a possible 15,000. Joyce and Bob, just the two of you left, and you have now only 90 seconds. But whatever you win in this round will be doubled and added to your total to make up your final prize money. So £5,000 is at stake in this round. We start with the strongest link from the last round, that's Bob. Let's play the weakest link. Start the clock. Bob, what is the French fashion term meaning ready to wear?
Pret-a-manger.
Prêt-à-porter. Joyce, in which American state is the ski resort of Vail?
Pass.
Colorado. Bob, Umberto II was the last reigning monarch of which European country, now a republic?
Italy.
Correct. Joyce, in nature, what Y is a plant also known as Adam's needle?
U.
Yucca plant. Bob, in TV comedy The Royal Family, which actress plays the part of Denise?
Tip of my tongue, don't know, pass.
Carolina Hearn. Joyce, Sharon Stone was nominated for an Academy Award in which 1995 gangster film directed by Martin Scorsese?
Pass.
Casino. Bob, what tea was the title of the opera composed by Puccini that was first performed in 1900?
Tosca.
Correct. Joyce, in land area, what S is Africa's largest country?
Sudan.
Correct. Bob,
Bank.
which member of the Beatles sang solo on the tracks with a little help from my friends and Octopus's Garden?
Ringo.
Correct. Joyce, in science, the study of the planet Earth as a whole is known as what science?
Pass.
Earth science. Bob, in sport, which Suffolk town has a racecourse called the Rowley Mile, named after Charles II's favourite horse?
Newmarket.
Correct. Joyce,
Bank.
which Swedish-born actress did Humphrey Bogart appear in the 42 romantic film Casablanca?
Ingrid Bergman.
Correct. Time is up, and you certainly didn't make it to £2,500. You banked just £150. Never mind, we'll double that and add it to the winnings from the previous rounds. That means total prize money this evening of £6,300. But of course, only one of you can take that money away, so now you'll be playing against each other head to head. I'll ask alternate questions, best of 5. Whoever answers the most correctly wins. It's as simple as that. If there's a tie after 5, we'll go for sudden death until we have a winner. So, Joyce and Bob, for £6,300, let's play the weakest link. Bob, as the strongest link in the last round, you have the choice of who goes first.
I'll go first, please.
Bob, which actor played Sergeant Major Williams in the 1970s and 80s TV sitcom It Ain't Half Hot, Mum?
Welshman, can't think of his name. Pass.
The correct answer is Windsor Davis. Joyce, which British inventor features on the English £5 note?
Faraday.
The correct answer is George Stephenson. Bob, in which English county would you find Preston and Accrington?
In Lancashire.
That is the correct answer. Joyce, in astronomy, how many major planets orbit our sun?
9.
That is the correct answer. Bob, in film, what is the occupation of Bill Murray's character, Phil Connors, in the 1993 comedy Groundhog Day?
Is he a gambler?
No, he's a weatherman. Joyce, which river separates the communities of Buda and Pest, which in 1873 amalgamated to form Budapest?
Pass.
The correct answer is the River Danube. Bob, which Native American princess became a convert to Christianity and took the name Rebecca?
Hiawatha.
The correct answer is Pocahontas. Joyce, with which sport are brother and sister David Broom and Liz Edgar principally associated?
Show jumping.
That is the correct answer. Bob, you need to answer this question correctly to stay in the game. Which American singer and actor had UK hits in 1958 with Magic Moments and Catch a Falling Star?
Dean Martin.
The correct answer is Perry Como. That means, Joyce, you are today's strongest link and you go away with £6,300. Bob, you leave with nothing. Coming up next on BBC One, Nick Berry and Stephen Tompkinson in the crime double In Deep. Join us again for the weakest link. Goodbye.
I feel absolutely delighted to have won. It's been a really great day and I feel absolutely fantastic.
Losing while being so close to that amount of money is a little bit annoying, but at the end of the day, it's all a question of luck in the questions, and my luck was out.
Hard luck, Bob, but I think I was the stronger player and I think I did deserve to win.